Welcome, everyone, to our Tuesday edition of the Archangel Book Nook podcast, where we discuss all things reading and literature. The Lion King continues to be a vibe in the school today. There is noise and happy, productive noise from all corners of the school. And I know that all of our students are getting really excited. Today is dress rehearsal day. Everything's coming together. My office is upstairs next to the gym, so I get to hear all of the amazing progress that is being made. I get to see all of the artwork. I get to see all of the props and the stage, and everyone should attend. There should be no question. Come to all 3 performances. You will not regret it. Getting back to our podcast, today I have the pleasure of interviewing Coach Oleighe for a more international flavor to reading. And we also bring you a book that is very encouraging when we feel discouraged. I think it's a book that everyone can take a little lesson from in their lives, no matter how young or old you are. So with that, we move to our interview. I am pleased to have with me today Coach Oleighe. Coach Oleighe joins us, and we are going to pick her brain about all things literacy and hopefully tap into a more international exposure to literacy today. Coach Oleighe, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I'm excited for this because I know you're going to have different answers
Yes.
in different languages than we might be used to hearing. So we'll just get right into it, and I'll ask you my first question, which is, in general, what do you like to read the most?
When I was younger, I would say nonfiction.
Okay.
Now, cookbooks. Like, okay, there's something going on. Let me see, what is this? And I have tons of cookbooks at home. Yeah. A few of them are really interesting. The last one that I was cooking from is for what is her name? Oh, I need to find the name. It's about a lady who went from United States to Paris, and she figured out how they cook there, and she learned how to cook the French way, but she made it United States way.
Okay.
And she when she used to live in Paris, she started cooking and write the book, so the United States people, like the American people, get to use the French food.
I think I appreciate her work very much, and I might want her life. Yes, please.
A long time ago.
You're not.
Let me tell you what is her name. Julia Child.
Julia Child. Yes, I was going to guess that.
Yes, it's 2 books. I have the 2 books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
Jamie Oliver is one of my go-tos for cookbooks.
Okay.
I credit him with my being able to cook it all.
Uh-huh.
And I do make a mean Yorkshire pudding.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of him.
This is interesting. To cook.
So, yes, cooking takes up a lot of our time. And I do love cookbooks as well, just for the visuals. And it's unbelievable. So when you were a kid, what was reading like for you? You mentioned nonfiction more than fiction.
Yes.
Did you spend a lot of time reading? Was it easy for you? Was it difficult?
Growing up in Lebanon, reading is very important. And growing up learning French and English, it was French, English, and Arabic, so it was very hard. We used to have to read at least 2 books a year from each language.
Okay.
So I'll tell you my favorite,
Okay.
my all-time favorite, and I will read them to my kids and everything. I have short story. It's La Parure, The Necklace. It's a French book from Guido Maupassant. It has a lot of meaning. Actually, it has a lot of lessons, and I would advise everyone to read it. You can read the English version, or you can read the French one.
Les deux.
And the second one is Les Misérables. I guess everyone knows Les Misérables, The Misérables. This is by Victor Hugo. I watched the movie many times. I watched it with my kids. They don't understand it, but it's okay. And I read the book many times, like many times, and I really have it at home still.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you can see that the papers are like ripped now.
Yeah.
And there is one more all-time favorite. I don't know. He's very well known. He was born in Lebanon, grew up in the United States. His name is Gibran Khalil Gibran. He has an Arabic book. It's called the Al-Mutanabbi. It's in Arabic. In English, it's called I know it because I read it in English as well. I read it for my kids in English. It's I need to know it.
It's funny how you can kind of get trapped into one language, even if if it comes out in more than one language. I did the same thing with Grumpy Bird a number of years ago. Grumpy Bird was one of our books for the podcast 2 years ago, but I actually read that book first in French, and I thought Gros Gagnon was just a French book. Did not realize that actually it was an English book that had been translated. So in my mind, it was just Gros Gagnon. And then I saw it in English one day and I went, oh my gosh, this book came out in English? That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up meeting the author and shared that with him, which he thought was pretty funny. I completely applied a French accent to his name. His name's Jeremy Tankard. Oh. I read it as Jérémy Tankard.
It's called the Prophet.
Okay, got it.
So it's also very well known, and they made a movie, English movie for kids, because it has a lot of meanings. They made it for kids. I let my kids watch it, but I would say like kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2 would not understand because it has a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
But higher grades, they will understand it. It's a good one.
I'm going to drop these book names into the comments, into the description for this video. So anyone who wants to look them up can look them up. Sounds like they are absolutely fantastic literature.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And my last question is, why, in your opinion, is reading important?
Okay, when I was young, I wouldn't believe that it's important, and until I get older, and I know that it gives me a lot of imagination, creativity, and it taught me a lot of lessons. Like, because I love the books that has meanings. It taught me a lot of lessons: how to appreciate life, how to appreciate things, and it's in my memory, it's in my head there. So whenever especially the La Parure, it's like and Les Misérables, like it gives you, and all of them, like it gives you a lot of meaningful for life, like you appreciate your life. So I would say when I was younger, I was reading to read. I wouldn't think, because my teacher asked me to read. Now I know, like, oh, that's good. I remember them. I can teach them to my kids. It gave me a lot of imagination, and I used to write.
We should get back to that.
Right? No.
It's a big commitment to write a book.
No, not a book. Like poems and stuff, rhymes. I used to love rhymes, and I read the book and I will get words from it. So it was like, this is why I used to read. This is my only at back then. But now I appreciate, like, I read that much.
What a beautiful summary of what reading can do for us. I love that. Imagination, creativity, inspiration, and learning about your own life by reading about other people's lives in the books. Coach Oleighe, this has been a wonderful few minutes. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you once again to Coach Oleighe for joining me. We will now step into our book. It is called The Dot.
The Dot by Peter H. Reynolds. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper.
Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm,
She said.
Very funny,
Said Vashti.
I just can't draw.
Her teacher smiled.
Just make a mark and see where it takes you.
Vashti grabbed a marker and gave the paper a good, strong jab.
There.
The teacher picked up the paper and studied it carefully. She pushed the paper towards Vashti and quietly said,
Now sign it.
Vashti thought for a moment.
Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name.
The next week, when Vashti walked into art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above her teacher's desk. It was the little dot she had drawn. Her dot! All framed in swirly gold.
I can make a better dot than that.
She opened her never-before-used set of watercolors and set to work. Vashti painted and painted. A yellow dot, a green dot, a red dot, a blue dot. The blue mixed with the red. She discovered that she could make a purple dot. Vashti kept experimenting. Lots of little dots in many colors.
If I can make little dots, I can make big dots too.
Vashti splashed her colors with her big brush on bigger paper and to make bigger dots. Vashti even made a dot by not painting a dot. At the school art show a few weeks later, Vashti's many dots made quite a splash. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her.
You're a really great artist. I wish I could draw.
He said,
I bet you can.
said Vashti.
Me? No, not me. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler.
Vashti smiled. She handed the boy a blank sheet of paper.
Show me.
The boy's pencil shook as he drew his line. Vashti stared at the boy's squiggle. And then she said,
Please, sign it.
Don't you just want to break out the crayons and make a mark on your day? One student did just that not too long ago, that while I was editing this podcast, he showed up on the platform of my office, which is also known as Platform 3/4, in a massive paper costume as Hagrid and said, "You're a wizard, Harry." Thank you to that student who, even though our schedule may be a little up and down because of rehearsals, is still connecting to literacy in this beautiful literacy week. You made my day. Thank you once again for joining me for today's episode of the Archangel Book Nook. Thank you to my grade 7 boys for the music. And don't forget, the chicken sale orders are due a week today. Write down your guesses for the mystery teacher and hand them in on Friday. We'll see you tomorrow for our next podcast episode.